Twin Fantasy made me realize I was a furry. That's a lie. E621 made me realize I was a furry. That's also a lie. I'm not actually a furry. Well, you can start calling me Wayne Pinocchio Gretzky because I just scored a hat trick of fabrications. I promise I will not lie for the rest of this video. Or will I? That's for you to decide. What's not for you to decide is that Twin Fantasy was such an album that it was recorded twice. Twice! A lot of music doesn't get recorded once. Having your music recorded twice is truly a fantasy of twins. The original version, released by Will Toledo in 2011, has since been suffixed with mirror to mirror, whereas the more professionally recorded version released in 2018 was appended with face to face. The vinyl release of the original version mirrors that subtitle with the cover art and titles being flipped. Is this cute? Sure. I still hate it. This cover art will always look wrong to me, and I'm not gonna set up my turntable in my bathroom. Let's talk about the music now. Writing for Twin Fantasy began in mid-2011 after Toledo transferred from Virginia Commonwealth University to the College of William and Mary due to feelings of isolation and anxiety 5. This album was recorded in the closet of his dorm room, which contributes to the lo-fi sensibilities which make it sound like the album was recorded in the closet of a dorm room. When I first learned this, I was a bit skeptical given how thunderously loud a lot of the album can be. This was before I had moved into an apartment. 6. Isolation and anxiety are overtly present in equal parts within the music and the music listener. No socially healthy person would find this album. I found it as an isolated, anxious 16-year-old, meaning that this album isn't good. It just so happened to float through my awareness at the exact right time in order for a permanent emotional bond to be formed. This album's phis are so low that you might as well be graphing it two-dimensionally. In other words, it sounds bad. It sounds like the album was recorded in the closet of a dorm room. If it were a soup of the day, it'd use olive oil and molasses as a stock, overcook its instruments until they were mushy, and be served with a side of voice cracks. How could a single person be a fan of this C, let alone two? Because I lied. It doesn't sound bad. The cavernous soundscape songs inhabit are an invitation to drift further into this dorm room closet world that serves as a constant reminder that affecting art can come from anywhere, and that everyone has a story to tell. Hyper-polished studio recordings could never carry the same authentic personal impact of bearing one's soul. This is why the re-recorded version doesn't click with me. It has the fury of a cupcake. It's as personable as a linoleum floor. It feels like watching Bill Gates trying to guess grocery store prices on Ellen. Twin Fantasy is a coming of age involving navigating gay relationships and self-acceptance. Imagine Scrooge McGates writing an album about the gay teen experience. That's not to say Twin Fantasy lost all of its value as it came out of the closet. Mirror to Mirror is a juvenile expression of concerns over a failed relationship, and Face to Face has had the time to mature and look back on Mirror to Mirror with greater wisdom. Twin Fantasy, in its fantastical twin versions, presents a textbook example of reflecting on embarrassing teen fantasies. Will has mentioned the old one is by a different artist that I don't necessarily like as much as the one I've turned into. I get that. The version of myself from even 1 year ago feels like a stranger. Consequently, I don't like Twin Fantasy as much as I used to. Instead of the awkward, gay, single 16-year-old who screamed out every lyric in his car, I'm now the awkward, gay, single 21-year-old who still knows every word but has been beaten down by the failed promises of life and has no passion left for anything. Shout me out in the comments if you too have lost all hope for enjoying the minute pleasures of existence. Twin Fantasy now feels like an old postcard photo from a family vacation or a birthday card from a relative from 5 years ago. I still appreciate it for what it represents in my life, but has anyone actually read any of those notes you wrote for your future self upon becoming said future self? Still, I can't imagine wanting to listen to the re-recorded version. Face to Face, in my opinion, is objectively bad. It's like an Instagram selfie trying to copy an old postcard photo. It's like a birthday card that uses Times New Roman. Sorry, Will, but I hope to never see a birthday card from you. This all being said, Mirror to Mirror is still a pretty enjoyable listen for me. The sounds do sound good. Bodies remains one of my favorite songs of all time for how it perfectly captures the adolescent anxiety of the album as a whole and still manages to be so stupidly danceable. Instruments being blown out by the webcam mic so hard they struggle walking the next morning magnifies the raw passion embedded within every line of adolescent apprehensiveness. But it's never painful, not even when Will screams so loud on Famous Prophet's Minds that the rest of the song shrinks like it just took a cold shower. In fact, all of the clumsy imperfections that stutter their words and trip over their own shoelaces amplify the enthusiasm for music and better the experience. Amateur comes from the Latin word for love. An amateur is merely someone who does something not as a profession, but because they love it. Twin Fantasy has many deficiencies, but lacking in love and care, it does not. This album has taught current me two things. Firstly, as an artist, there will always be people who like your previous work more than anything you could create now. And, as a human, there will always be things you did previously that will stick in the minds of others much deeper than anything you could do now. Secondly, your experience with art is purely based around how you're feeling when you interact with it. Another reason why most discourse about the quality of art,
including this video,
is pointless. Congratulations! I have now officially claimed this video to have contributed absolutely nothing. For my next magic trick, I will repeat this demonstration in every subsequent creative project I ever embark upon. See you again next week for another generous serving of precious minutes of your fragile existence frivolously wasted. Though it's not like either of us had anything better to be doing with it, right? Thank you, Will Toledo. Thank you, Past Me. And thank you for listening. Long live Closet Furry Music.